Dr. Rajadhar is a renowned interventional pulmonologist, a critical care and sleep study consultant in Fortis Hospital in Kolkata. Having served in the intensive care for more than 2 decades, he has done his master's in clinical research and is now a committee member of the Chest Society. Dr. Dhar has also trained in the palliative care in United Kingdom and is working to set up the palliative care unit in Fortis Hospital. Currently, he is an important member of the COVID-19 Task Force, West Bengal. He has recently himself survived the COVID-19 virus and has an important role to play as a COVID frontline warrior today.
The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone.
Let's do our due diligence, take the precautions we need to take care of ourselves.
No matter what, I still love my job and I'm going to do everything in my power to save lives.
कल की बात पुरानी नए दौर में लिखेंगे मिलकर नई कहानी.
So I think I was in Delhi on the 9th and 10th of March to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences for their annual conference. तो उस समय दिल्ली में काफी केसेस थे. एम्स में पेशेंट्स भर्ती होने शुरू हुए थे. कलकत्ते में हम लोगों का पहला केस तब तक नहीं आया था. मतलब मैं अपने अस्पताल की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, पूरे कलकत्ते की बात कर रहा हूँ. We did not have our first case back then. But I remember thinking that this is the time when we need to go and set up a separate unit. So I went and visited the very rudimentary AIIMS unit that was there at the time, because they were also just starting at that point of time. So I came back and we had a discussion between two of my colleagues, one from critical care and one from medicine, and the hospital administration, that this was the time to set up the COVID unit at Fortis Hospital, which is where I work in Kolkata. तो हम लोगों ने बातचीत की और 21 तारीख को हमारा कोविड यूनिट शुरू हुआ. तो ये 21 मार्च की बात कर रहा हूँ. 22 को हमारा पहला कोविड सस्पेक्ट पेशेंट आया. तो उस समय तो इट वाज अ लर्निंग प्रोसेस फॉर अस. चारों तरफ बहुत हंगामा हुआ. तो दिस वाज अ guy, without taking names, I mean that would be against patient confidentiality, but this was a guy who had just come from the UK. तो लॉकडाउन मेरे ख्याल से उसी दिन लागू. I think if my memory serves me right, it was 21st of March when the lockdown started. So this guy came from the UK. He was quarantining at home and he had a fever. तो 28 साल का लड़का था, अस्पताल में आया and we admitted him. Lots of hoo-ha in the hospital, बहुत हल्ला मचा कि देखो कोविड पेशेंट आया है. तो ये कोविड में सबसे बड़ी जो चीज होती है वो डर होता है. कोविड से ज्यादा लोग डर के मारे मर जाते हैं. और ये खाली मैं पेशेंट्स के बारे में, रिलेटिव्स के बारे में नहीं बता रहा हूँ, ये मैं डॉक्टर, नर्सेस, हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स के बारे में बता रहा हूँ. सो द इनिशियल चैलेंज वाज टू ओवरकम दिस फियर. ये जो डर है उसको ओवरकम करना सबसे बड़ी बात है. तो हम लोग ले गए, पेशेंट को भर्ती किया. उस समय हम लोगों के पास नेसोफेरिंजियल स्वैब लेना, जो कि अभी कॉमन प्लेस हो गया है फॉर आरटी-पीसीआर, वो भी बिल्कुल नया था. सो वी वेंट टू YouTube, saw the videos to tell us exactly किस तरह कलेक्ट करते हैं, and the guy got admitted on the ward. We sent a swab off. Interestingly, उसके बाद के जो 8 दिन थे उसमें हम लोगों ने almost 15 patients admit किए, so about 2 a day. But none of these patients, and when I think back, it surprises me a lot, none of these patients came back as being COVID positive. तो हम लोगों ने सोचा कि ये शायद false alarm हो, हम लोग को गलत लग रहा है. But then on the 31st of March, we had our first COVID positive patient. Since that time, the numbers have grown. In the last, from 31st of March till today, we've got about 700 COVID positive patients that we have treated in Fortis Anand in the last 6.5, 7 odd months. The experience has grown. It's been a learning experience. तो बहुत सीखा हूँ. ये इस बीमारी के बारे में स्पेशलिटी ये है कि आप इस बीमारी को जब से देख रही हो, मैं भी उसी समय से देख रहा हूँ. एंड विद इट बीइंग सो मच इन द मीडिया, देयर बीइंग सो मेनी प्रोग्राम्स, जैसे आप आज बना रही हो, इस तरह इतने ज्यादा कॉन्शियसनेस बढ़ाने वाले प्रोग्राम्स हो रहे सारे देश में कि लोगों को इसके बारे में काफी ज्यादा पता है. दवाइयों के बारे में, क्या इंजेक्शंस हैं, क्या टैबलेट्स हैं, लोगों को, कुछ लोगों तो मुझसे ज्यादा पता है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, इवन दो आई ट्रीट दिस डिजीज ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. सो अब वी हैव गॉन ऑन, लोगों की ट्रीटमेंट हुई है. ज्यादातर लोग थैंकफुली ठीक होके घर गए हैं। कुछ लोग हैं जो कि हम ठीक नहीं कर पाए। So out of the 650-700 odd patients, we have lost about 20 patients in the interim. So there have been 20 patients who we have not managed to send home. But I think the important thing is we have learned in the way. The healthcare workers have got together. We have overcome the initial fear that we've had. One of the problems with overcoming fear is कि लोग केयरलेस हो जाते हैं। लोग सोचते हैं कि हाँ देखो अब तो ठीक है, हम तो सब जानते हैं पीपी की क्या जरूरत है, N95 मास्क की क्या जरूरत है, तो वो नहीं आना चाहिए। There should not be any sense of overconfidence. We have managed to send people home. We think that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We think that the number of cases are probably gradually starting to come down. Especially the severe cases are gradually coming down. So I think we have always thought that we'll overcome. You know, it's not the first respiratory pandemic we've had. So we've had the SARS pandemic. That was back in 2003, 2004. And at the time I was working in the UK. Then 2012, 2013, we had the MERS pandemic. And interestingly, all of these were coronaviruses. Both the SARS and the MERS were coronaviruses. 2009, I had just come back to India. It was a few months after I came back from the UK to work here. And we had the H1N1 pandemic. You would remember, उस समय H1N1 के काफी cases आ रहे थे. इतने ज़्यादा नहीं थे. But we went through a similar time when there was fear, but there was also the passion to work and thinking कि देखो there'll definitely be light at the end of the tunnel. So while this virus is new, ये जो experience है, ये नया नहीं है. And I think we have learned along the way that you have to keep your mental positivity, because unless you do that, you will not be able to treat the ailing humanity. I think that's important. तो ऐसा तो कभी नहीं लगा. I've had personal tragedies along the way. I've lost my father along the way. Along the way, I have had COVID myself. So I got admitted with COVID in hospital. I was there for 8 to 9 days. I've had family members. I've still got my mother admitted in hospital. So I think the reason I'm telling you this is not for sympathy, but just to say that even in there, unless there is a silver lining, be it for your own patients or be it in your own family, the mental positivity, ये जो सोचना है कि हाँ ठीक होना है, ज्यादातर लोग ठीक होते हैं, कोशिश करेंगे, जरूर ठीक होना है. Unless you have that confidence as a doctor, you're never going to manage to transfer that onto the patient or the family who is at the end of the phone. So the patient who is in front of you or the family who is at the end of the phone, you're never going to manage to actually transfer that confidence. But you know, here, when you come to work, you know there's about a few thousand people who are dependent on you on some way or the other. And I think the challenge is not just to keep yourself safe, your family safe, but also to keep these other people who depend on you, look up to you for support and treatment, trying to get them better. So even with my father's death, or even with my mom being hospitalized at the moment, we know that today I have sent 3 people smiling home. You know, so for positivity, I can imbibe that positivity from the individuals who are going home on a daily basis, which I guess the other population don't get to see. The problem with the medicines is that, you know, these are all repurposed drugs. So इसका मतलब क्या है? तो इतने बड़े पैंडेमिक में आपको एक नई दवाई नए तरीके से लाके उसके ट्रायल्स करवा के अगर आपको पेशेंट को देना हो, तो अभी हमारे लिए वैक्सीन की जो स्थिति है वही स्थिति होगी कि वो 1 साल बहुत जल्दी हुआ तो 1 साल, but most drug takes up to 5 years to actually do. So repurposed drugs, when we say repurposed drugs, we mean drugs that have been used for a different indication. So for instance, chloroquine has been used in malaria. Hydroxychloroquine has been used in arthritis. Ivermectin is a warm medication. The antivirals we have, the remdesivir, the favipiravir, all of these drugs are antivirals which have been used in other viral illnesses. So we know that they are safe drugs. Their efficacy have been tried out in trials which are not as robust as the trials that we normally do. तो इसीलिए हमारी जो ड्रग्स के बारे में recommendations हैं या जो ड्रग्स आ रही हैं, they have gradually evolved over a period of time. So the efficacy of drugs that we have had to start with are now changed and we have much more effective drugs available to us. तो ये जो आप silver lining, confidence, light at the end of the tunnel, ये सब हम लोग ये जो terminologies use कर रहे हैं, as time is gone, as we have developed protocols, clinical protocols for treatments of patients, And we have found that the results are better. The recovery rate is gradually getting better, even with the very sick or severe patients. Our confidence has grown. The tests have increased in numbers. So the case burden has remained more or less the same. But we know that even the sick patient, the very sick patient coming to us, will go home well unless they are very unlucky, or unless we are very unlucky as the treating team. Most patients we know will go home well at the end of the day, back to a family which is waiting with open arms for them to welcome them back. Remdesivir is a wonderful drug. I've had it myself. I went from being RT-PCR positive with a very high viral load to being negative with no virus within the space of 7 to 8 days, which is not something we could have imagined, say 3 or 4 months ago when we did not have the drug. So it's magical, the drug, especially in patients with moderate to not very severe disease. मुश्किल तब हो जाती है जब हम लोग वेट करते करते एक ऐसी जगह पे पहुंच जाते हैं कि वेंटिलेटेड हो गया पेशेंट या पेशेंट को रोन करना पड़ रहा है. तो जब बहुत हम लोग वेंटिलेटर पे जब पहुंच जाते हैं, उस समय दवाइयां, सारी दवाइयां जो हमारे पास है वो कम काम करती है, बिकॉज वी हैव प्रोबेबली मिस्ड द बोट देयर. You know, we have probably gone beyond the point where patients are retrievable. So the aim is to give the drug slightly early so that the drug has a fair chance of reversing the disease process in the human body. So that's the important part. I think पहली बात तो ये है कि unlock तो कभी ना कभी करना ही. You know, it's people dying from the economy flattening itself, falling on its face, versus people having COVID and then a small minority of them dying, a very, very small minority, and then the remaining recovering, having antibodies and being relatively immune to the disease for a significant period of time. So that's the comparison. तो खोलना कभी तो कभी है ही. The problem we have in India is that ये हमारी देश बहुत बड़ी देश है, and the access to the remoter parts of the country, which is probably the larger proportion of this country, is very difficult. तो आप सोच लो, अगर एक छोटी से गांव में एक कोविड पॉजिटिव पेशेंट पहुंच गया, you can understand the impact that one person will have on a village which till that date was relatively isolated. Isolated not by design, but isolated because of the location where it is. It's a self-contained place. तो वहां पे disease जाना मुश्किल है, ठीक है ना? So you understand that this one person can probably end up infecting 5,000 people. Sure. अब उस 5,000 लोगों में से 2 लोग अगर बगल वाले गांव में पहुंच जाए, तो you know this is, so the peak that we talk about, flattening of the curve that you talk about in India is going to be a far more staggered peak. It's going to be a very, very slow peak because the rate of infection in the remoter parts of the country is going to be a slow process that continues even when the big cities and towns have started dropping their numbers. That's the first concept to understand. तो हमारा peak staggered peak हो. दूसरी बात ये है कि हमारे यहाँ, so in my hospital where I work, I am not seeing a reduction in numbers. That's because we have a smaller number, we have a smaller bed capacity and even a smaller number of intensive care beds. तो ये जो reflection है, ये बड़ी गवर्नमेंट अस्पतालों में है जहाँ पे 500-700 कोविड बेड्स हैं. वो बोल रहे हैं कि देखो मॉडरेट पेशेंट्स to an extent severe patients के numbers कुछ कम हो रहे हैं, ऐसा लग रहा है, right? So what makes these numbers come down? We don't have the vaccine yet. So with whatever numbers we have, we feel that maybe the extent of herd immunity in our country is probably about 1 in 5 to 1 in 6 people. Okay. So there's a 15 to 20% of patients who've either had asymptomatic or have had symptomatic disease.
Okay.
तो ये 20% लोग, ये जो एसिम्प्टोमेटिक लोग हैं जो कम्युनिटी में घूम रहे हैं, इन्होंने शायद कुछ दूसरे लोगों को भी दिया है बीमारी. जो लोग भी एसिम्प्टोमेटिक रहे हैं और उनके बॉडी में भी कुछ हद तक शायद एंटीबॉडीज आई, even though there's a lot of dispute about the antibodies also. ठीक है? So there's the herd immunity.
Yes.
Then if we take our understanding of other respiratory viral infections, let's take the example of H1N1. तो हम लोग H1N1 we thought was once a fatal disease, and we know for a fact that H1N1 में जितनी mortality थी, जितने लोग H1N1 से जिनकी मौत हो जाती थी, उनका नंबर हमारे COVID-19 से कहीं ज्यादा है. It was a far more, the mortality was far greater in that disease as compared to this one. Is it that H1N1 has now been eradicated from the world? ऐसा तो बिल्कुल नहीं है। अभी भी H1N1 होता है, but the virus has mutated and over a period of time it's become a much less virulent virus. तो अभी सर्दी खांसी जुकाम होती है, छींक आती है, अगर ज्यादा खांसी हो और हम लोग टेस्ट करें तो पता चलता है कि H1N1 हुआ है। मगर कोविड की तरह ये जब H1N1 पहले पेंडेमिक हुआ था in 2009, लोग डर नहीं जाते, ये नहीं सोचते हैं कि देखो मेरी H1N1 से मौत हो जाएगी। People now understand that this is a community disease and it's going to stay that way. So we also hope that at some point of time in the next 3 to 4 months, COVID-19 will also mutate and become a much less virulent virus. And then there's hope in the horizon with the vaccine, where we'll probably have, once people are vaccinated, some degree of protection with the creation of antibodies, and the entire cohort of herd immunity that we have, say at 20% at the moment, will increase to about 60 to 70%. So that's how we see light at the end of the tunnel, I think. So there's something else that you asked, and I really want to say this on this forum, because I think this is something that's not, we haven't really talked about it a lot. तो ये जो mortality है, हम लोग तो COVID-19 के mortality के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। We don't talk about people who are dying in greater numbers at home from other diseases because they feel fearful कि अस्पताल में आ जाएंगे तो कोविड हो जाए। सपोज किसी को हार्ट अटैक हो रहा है, किसी को लंग में क्लॉट्स हो रहे हैं, किसी को सीवियर सीओपीडी अटैक हो रहा है, किसी के पैर में गैंग्रीन हो रहा है, डायबिटीज कंट्रोल में नहीं आ रहा है। सो दीज पीपल दे वांट टू स्टे एट होम, एंड द थिंकिंग, एंड इट्स वेरी स्ट्रेंज दिस फिलॉसफी, वी हैव सीन इट बिफोर आल्सो, कि अगर मौत हो जाए कोई बात नहीं, मगर कोविड से नहीं मर। यू नो, सो पीपल आर एक्चुअली डाइंग इन far greater numbers from non-COVID causes because they are not seeking healthcare, they are not seeking support at a time when things can be retrieved. And I think that's something worth thinking about, worth wondering. We've had more people brought dead to the emergency from other causes as compared to what we've had from COVID. Magar, you understand, if someone is sick, the aim is to try and get that patient to the hospital as soon as possible. Most healthcare facilities, corporate hospitals, government hospitals, will try their very best to segregate their COVID and non-COVID sections as far as possible. ठीक है ना? अब because this is a community disease now, the problem is that even in people who have zero symptoms, तो कोई सोच लो गॉल ब्लैडर ऑपरेशन के लिए आया है, इलेक्टिव सर्जरी के लिए आया है, हम लोगों ने पहले जब देखा था कि इनका अगर कोविड टेस्ट नहीं करवाते तो क्या होता है, पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव पीरियड में इनको निमोनिया हो जाता है। हम लोग देखते हैं कि ये कोविड था जो कि डिटेक्टेड नहीं हुआ, because you know the COVID test that we ask for in people who are undergoing surgery, people often think it's just for the healthcare worker. It's not. We know for sure that any operative intervention or any intervention, be that an angioplasty, be that a bronchoscopy, be that a big surgery, a gallbladder removal, a hernia surgery, is far more risky on an individual where COVID is actively replicating in their body, reproducing in their body, as compared to someone who does not have COVID. So yes, it is for the protection of the healthcare worker, but it is also for the protection of that patient. So I think if there's a patient where we have a window of opportunity, अगर ऐसा हो कि किसी को हार्ट अटैक हो, फिर तो रुक नहीं सकते हैं। ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि हाँ देखो कोविड सैंपल लेंगे, जब रिपोर्ट आएगा उसके बाद हार्ट अटैक का ट्रीटमेंट करेंगे, because that person will not give us that chance. But suppose it's a gallbladder surgery, which is an elective surgery, or a hernia surgery, then probably getting a COVID test done and then going for the surgery, going for the intervention is a far better idea, both for the perspective of the patient and the family and from the perspective of the healthcare worker that is there. पहली बात तो ये है, जिस तरह हम लोगों ने थोड़ी देर पहले कहा, क्योंकि the cases that we see in front of us, even today, when the testing has gone hugely, it's been hugely ramped up. The government has done very well in ramping up testing. But if you look at the percentage of the country that's being tested, the total population who is being tested, we are by far the lowest in the entire world. And that's because of the huge population that we have. You understand कि अगर एक बहुत small percentage of the country को test कर रहे हैं in a community disease, then the numbers are actually far greater as compared to what it is in reality, in what is being shown to us. That's the first one. The same about mortality. बहुत लोग हैं अस्पताल पहुंच नहीं पाते, बहुत जगह अभी भी है जहां पे कोविड टेस्टिंग लोग करवा नहीं सकते, तो ये जो मोर्टेलिटी फिगर है जो कि हमारे देश में बहुत कम है, the mortality figure is probably more than what is being shown at the moment. That's not to say people are doing it intentionally. It's just the nature of the country, which is almost a continent where we live. Now coming to the immunity part, which you've asked about. So there are multiple factors, multiple theories. Some of them we know are true. So the first point is कि हमारे सेल में दो तरह के सेल्स होते हैं. एक बोलते हैं T cells और एक होती है B cells. So we know this disease is T cell mediated. तो T cell बॉडी में हमारे इम्यूनिटी के लिए हेल्पफुल है with COVID. So it's a T cell mediated disease. तो हमारा total content of T cells in the subcontinent seems to be 30% higher as compared to what it is in Europe. 30% ज़्यादा है. And this is a study which was done about 8 years ago involving various countries in the subcontinent. So Bangladesh, 8 centers in India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and parts of a small couple of centers in China. We looked at the population. When I say we, I did not, but people looked at the population and found that the T cell was 30%. That's one. The second thing that helps in our country is the BCG vaccination, which again produces T cell mediated immunity. इसीलिए आपको पता होगा कि one of the vaccines that has been tried in the COVID pandemic, still in the trial stage, is looking at BCG and whether it confers protection even during the pandemic from COVID-19. तो हमारा जो immunization schedule है, unlike a lot of Western countries, still has BCG in it. So that's why that probably provides a certain degree of protection. Vaccines के line में बोल रहा हूँ, the mumps, measles, rubella vaccine again is T cell mediated, and again that's a part of our immunization schedule, and hence again that promotes T cell immunity to an extent and provides some amount of protection from the virus. The fourth thing which is still disputed is the temperature. तो हमारे यहाँ का जो temperature है, तो we know that this virus replicates the most between a temperature of 6 to 11 degrees centigrade. 6 से 11 के बीच में सबसे ज्यादा replicate करती है. You know, हमारे यहाँ बहुत देश के कम ही जगह हैं जहाँ पे 6 से 11 के बीच में temperature रहता है. If you think about Europe, most of Europe is between 6 to 11 degrees, right? So the amount of viral replication in Europe is probably far greater as compared to what it is in our country. We also feel that the mutant variety, the mutant strain in our country is slightly different as compared to what it is in Europe. We know it's different in Kuala Lumpur, for instance, in Malaysia, and it's mutated again in Malaysia, which is why they've got a small second surge. So I think all of these factors, the T cell factor, the vaccination factor, the temperature factor, all of these factors together probably give us a slightly greater immunity to this disease. A, from getting the disease. B, even if we get the disease, the chances that people die are smaller in this subcontinent as opposed to what it is in other continents of the world. So, two parts. One, you talked about PPE. The other, you talked about rapid testing.
Yes.
So, the personal protective equipment, I think we as a country and the government, both the central and the state government, have done very well. So the initial deficit that we had in the first 2 to 3 months, I think obviously we've not overcome that completely. That's impossible in a country like India. But I think we are far better off as compared to what we had then. Now comes the point of contact testing, which is the other thing that you spoke about, which is our rapid antigen test. I think the rapid antigen test needs to be more than what we are doing just now. The point of contact testing needs to be more, because you understand, अंको, कि अगर हमारे पास point of care testing होगा तो हम लोग पेशेंट को ट्रायज कर पाएंगे ठीक से. तो मेरे इमरजेंसी में जब एक पेशेंट आता है, अगर मुझे आधे घंटे में पता चल जाए कि ये कोविड पॉजिटिव है या कोविड नेगेटिव है, then I can send the patient off to the right portions without contaminating the non-COVID part of the hospital. You know, because here I'll have to depend on my clinical acumen, maybe a CT scan, etc., to add to whatever information I have in triaging patients into COVID and non-COVID sections in the hospital. However, the problem with the antigen test, aside from the fact that it's not really widely available as yet, is also the fact that a positive test means that the person is COVID positive. The test has a very high specificity. However, a negative test, the sensitivity of the test is low. तो अगर आपका टेस्ट नेगेटिव आया तो 10 में से 6 से 7 लोगों का ये ट्रू नेगेटिव होगा और 3 से 4 लोगों का ये फॉल्स नेगेटिव होगा. So in most places the recommendation is that if you have a negative test, you go on to have an RT-PCR test done to get a more confident diagnosis. So I think there are a couple of practical points that need to be considered here. So we are fast forwarding a process which would normally take 4 to 5 years, and we are compressing that into a time span which is probably 6 to 9 months. So there is a reason why it takes 5 years for a vaccine to get licensed. There are certain safety and efficacy checkboxes that need to be ticked before you say that this vaccine is safe to be given. So there has to be some shortcuts that we are doing across the world in trying to get the vaccine ready early. And these shortcuts should not be such that they cost a person their life, not due to the disease, but due to the vaccine itself. So the checks, even if they're reduced in number, at least need to ensure that it's safe to give the vaccine. The second thing is, and this is not me being pessimistic, it's being realistic. We've had the flu vaccine now for the better part of more than 20 years. And we quote an efficacy of 50 to 60% for the flu vaccine. Why do we feel that a vaccine that is not yet here for a new disease, relatively new disease, which is getting developed over a period of 6 to 9 months, will have a greater efficacy as compared to a vaccine for which we have researched for 20 years now? So I think the vaccine will do two things. One, it will probably increase the pool of herd immunity that we have. That's one. The second is that it will probably reduce the extent, the severity of the disease in that particular individual who has taken the vaccine. So you will have more of mild disease and less of severe disease if you've had the vaccine over a period of time, which is not a bad thing, which is a great thing. So I think a combination of lots of people in the community getting the disease and hence having herd immunity is one. The second, I think, is the vaccine over the virus becoming less virulent over a period of time, like we said, by mutation. And the third is the vaccine together probably is the silver lining that we are looking for going forward into 2021, when we hope and really hope that this disease will not cause deaths, will not cause severe disease, will not cause intensive care admissions like we are having today. I think we have probably overcome the worst. I think all of us have fought hand in hand. This is a disease, you understand, unlike any other disease, where all of you are actually contributing. Some people are contributing by coming to hospital and seeing patients. Some of you are contributing by staying at home in isolation and preventing the disease from spreading to others. So this is somewhere where all of us together, hand in hand, have actually contributed in the global control of a disease process. And all of us are COVID warriors in trying to prevent the disease from spreading throughout the world. So we, I think, have overcome the worst. I think we have reached a stage where we can see light at the end of the tunnel. I think 2021 will be a new year. We'll start with a clean slate, and hopefully all of us will not have to stick to this new normal. Life will change to an extent, but not to the extent as we see today. And maybe we'll have a happy mean between what we had in January 2000 of this year, 2020, and what we see today. We'll have a mean in between that, where we'll all be able to do the various things that we love to do and cannot do because of the situation.
Dr. Rajadhar is not just a COVID warrior, but a survivor as well. After defeating COVID-19 himself, he is helping countless patients day in and out. He is a real hero as he strengthens our belief that we can overcome COVID-19. We salute him for his services.